to Inside Arena Football. We are joined by a very special guest today. We are joined by Coach Jason Gibson of the Columbus Lions out of Columbus, Georgia. The Columbus Lions are one of the most successful arena football organizations out there since they were founded in 2006, with winning league championships 3 times in 3 different arena leagues. Also 13 playoff appearances in 14 years. They have been in the NAL since the 2017 season and made the finals their first 2 seasons. It's an honor to have you on, Coach. How has 2021 been treating you?
It's pretty good, man. I'm breathing, so it's that's a good thing, right? I don't have high stakes. Do what?
It's always a positive.
Yeah. I'm a glass half full guy.
I wish I was more like that sometimes. Obviously, you've experienced 3 championship seasons so far, so I have to ask this. Which championship game is the most memorable to you?
The one we lost.
Oh, wow.
That was the best game. The one in Jacksonville. Because everybody in that arena and everybody in that stadium knew that we had that game won. You know, that was kind of at the time, you know, it was Jacksonville coming out of the AFL and us coming from the lower PIFL per se. And so, of course, I say that sarcastically because the only difference in it is really how much money the owners are spending, not the talent of players, because the players that were playing in the AFL were the same exact players playing in the PIFL the years before. So, but that was a great game. I mean, they had a great team too, but we were down on the 5-yard line with 12 seconds left or 5 seconds left, and it was 3rd down, and we fumbled the snap. I mean, that's just a hard way to lose the game. It was a great play by Jacksonville. I got to give them credit. So, but that was a game that was, to me, was one of the best games ever played. You know, just the way it played out, being down at halftime, coming back. You know, the drama of the game from a fan standpoint, the great game. I mean, that's what stands out to me.
Would you say that was your best team?
Oh man, every team has this different. I'm not going to say every team's different. I can't say that. I mean, I've had some really good teams, even though some of them played in other leagues, and maybe some of the talent, some of those leagues weren't as good. But you know, a good team is a good team, regardless of talent. Sometimes, you know, they always say, you know, X's and O's. I mean, you know, Jims and Joes are better than X's and O's, which is true. But just had some really good teams. And every time we won a championship or even the game we lost in Jacksonville, the makeup of the team is different every year. That was definitely a really good team, though.
Obviously, with you being the coach since the inaugural season of 2006, I would have to say that obviously the team has evolved from start to now. What do you think would be like? Just take us through like how everything was in the start until like how you built the program up to now.
Wow, I mean that's a very, very long answer that you guys don't really want. So short version, you know, first year team was a lot of local players. I think arena ball back in 2007 was just a different level of player versus the level of player you get now. I think you get arena has a lot more, not never say respect, but the players get better every year. You know, the talent pool gets better every year. The guys that played in 2007, you know, were as good as not than when I played in 2000. You know, and every year the competition gets better. So, but from 2007 to now, it's just been a lot of different things from an organizational standpoint. A lot of people that have come through that helped the organization get to where it is. It's really not, you know, just me. It's a lot of people on staff, a lot of people that have helped. It's been a good vision from the ownership. It's been a good vision from myself, but that's for me learning from a lot of people. I spend a lot of time learning other organizations, especially from a managerial standpoint, from operations standpoint. No disrespect, and when I say this, but it's not hard coaching. Okay, so that's the easy part. X's and O's in arena football is not hard. So what's hard is doing the operational stuff, doing the managerial stuff, handing the GM responsibilities and coaching. That's hard to do. And that's what's been most rewarding going through the years. And I think that's what's made us successful, and that's what's kind of helped me grow as a coach, but also maybe as a businessman a little bit too.
You said coaching is relatively easy, but I would say, like, what is some of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome coaching in arena football?
Player personalities is probably the biggest hiccup. I mean, look, you can, you know what, you can only do so much in arena football. There's only so much you can devise. At some point, my guy's better than your guy. Okay. And that's what it comes down to. So the biggest thing in an arena for me is just dealing with the different personalities. I mean, you know, you bring in dudes that are all successful, you bring in guys that are all alpha males. You know, and that's what you have to figure out and try to maneuver and get everybody kind of building on the same page as far as what you're trying to accomplish. And I think when you get that, you know, then you usually have a pretty good team, because everybody in this league is good. All the players in this league are good. And that's what's fun about it. But it's getting them to play together and be part of a team is what's hard.
You also have some high school coaching experience with, I believe, coaching at Phoenix City in Alabama, who's a very good program now, Glenwood in Georgia.
Right.
How do you separate the two when it comes to coaching two different types of games?
The personalities are obviously different. It's a lot different in high school versus, you know, in arenas. Like I told somebody one time, I said, you know, I can go an entire week in arena football. We might drop 5 passes in an entire week of practice. You go into a high school, you might catch 5 passes in an entire week. So it's, you know, it's a little different, but it's you have to learn to separate it. It's different mentalities. I mean, the football's still the same. The practice schedule's still the same. I treat the high school team like I treat the pro team. You know, we've been to 2 straight state championship games. We've got a pretty darn good program now for 5 years, and we've built a perennial team, you know, here, and it's only going to keep getting better, which is scary. But I mean, it's hard work separating them. But I enjoy the coaching and mentoring of the high school kids, and then I enjoy the pro aspect of. I enjoy the working relationship with pro athletes. For me personally, I love being able to get in an environment where you guys can work together. It's not about me being a dictator and let's go at all. I really enjoy the professionalism of a really good pro athlete who is skilled and gifted at his craft, and being able to watch them take those skills onto a football field and execute something exactly the way you drew it up. It's very rewarding for me. And so I enjoy that.
What are the biggest differences that you've noticed with high school coaching in Alabama versus Georgia?
Not going to answer that question.
Okay. Fortunately, we have plenty of other questions.
I mean, I just say I know the coaches here. I know the coaches here in Alabama are extremely good. I'll be honest with you. I've seen some really, really good high school football coaches that are just, you know, wow. And some really good coaches here.
What is your favorite part of coaching at both levels?
I'm sorry, say that again.
In terms of, like, at both levels of high school and arena football, like, what are your favorite parts about coaching in each of the levels?
Again, with the pro level guys, I enjoy practice. I think practice to me is the most fun. I enjoy, again, a guy who's a professional at what he does, and people don't realize how good these players really are, and how much time they put into it. I enjoy the practices. I enjoy the game day atmosphere, the fans. I mean, that's just such a high. It's such a, you know, I haven't had it for a year, so it's kind of been missing. But and then in high school, I enjoy the building process. I enjoy meeting a kid when he's in 6th or 7th grade and working with them over time and watching them grow and mature and become, you know, young men and adults. And next thing you know, they're seniors, and you look back and you're like, wow, you know, I was a part of that. And you feel like you built something. It's fun to be a part of their lives, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, money's all good and money will come and go. Nobody's going to remember how much money I have, which is none. but you know, they'll remember things we taught them, you know, in high school, and that's what makes it fun for me.
What are some of the biggest differences you noticed with each coaching?
With what now?
What are some of the biggest differences you noticed with coaching at high school and arena?
There's more men on the field in high school. So, it's just outdoor versus indoor. I mean, that's obviously the biggest difference. Yeah, that's the biggest difference. Just outdoor versus indoor football. I mean, that's it.
What are some of the proudest moments you've had as a coach?
Wow, too many. That's again, it's a hard question. I mean, just because I would, man, I don't want to take away from anybody. I think some of the moments that make me the proudest is when you're in a football game in an arena and the game's on the line, 30 seconds left in the game or whatever, and you're in the huddle on offense and we're trying to figure out what play we're going to run and what should we do. And one of the players suggests the play. Hey, coach, I tell you what, this is what they're doing. Why don't we do this? And then you say, okay, I'm with you. Let's go. I enjoyed that relationship. So I couldn't pick a particular moment because there's been too many moments like I just described where we're on the same working relationship page as on the field trying to accomplish a goal. And when you're on the same page with somebody and you're thinking like they're thinking, boy, I tell you what, man, you'll remember stuff like that. From a high school standpoint, I think it was, there's been some really good high school games. It's just been too many. I think it was a 4th and 3 play 2 years ago at Tuscaloosa, and we hadn't been to the state championship since whenever. I don't know how long it had been. And one of my players came to me and said, Coach, it was 4th and 3. If we get the first down, game's over. We go to the state championship. If we don't get it, they get the ball back with a chance to win. And I called timeout, and it's 4th down. I'm trying to figure out, and my player came to me and did the exact same thing that they do in the arena. He said, Coach, run it this way. This is what the player's doing. I'm going to chip, let him go and go climb to the linebacker. We'll get the first down. And it worked. And I remember as soon as we ran that play, the game was over with. I ran up and jumped up and we grabbed each other and we're hugging because he had basically said, you know what, Coach, get on my back, run it my way, and we'll get the first down. And I love that.
That's incredible, truly. What does director of football operations entail?
What does it not entail? How about that? Man, everything.
Okay, we'll do either one.
What does it not entail? I do everything but teach the dance team. Do the PA announcements. So no, operations, man, you're talking about everything. I mean, we coordinate in the off season. As soon as the off season is over with, we figure out our ticket packages, what our prices are going to be, what are the fan experiences going to be. I have to make sure that the lease is negotiated, but the main thing is really the sales, food deals, trade deals, sponsorships, advertisements, social media, who we're going to hire, how does it fit into the budget? The operational stuff is, that's the fun part that everybody wants to do. Okay. Most of these teams, I want to do the travel and I'll handle the operational part. Operations doesn't make teams money. And that's where a lot of these teams fall off. It's why these teams keep folding year after year after year. You hire these guys to come in and they want to do all football operations. That's not, again, that's easy. Go out there and sell a dasher board. Go out there and try to figure out a way to generate revenue to pay bills. That's hard. And that's what I do. I mean, I've got meetings today. So you got to go out there and try to get people to brand their product with you. And that's something we do in Columbus, is make sure we have a great name, a good product, and that people want to piggyback with us and say, hey, I'm part of that organization as well. If you can get that done, then you're doing a good job.
Obviously, COVID-19 changed the game completely across the board, and really it shut down the country for a long portion including stopping arena football last year.
Right.
What are some of the challenges that it brought to the off season and preparing for this season?
The main thing was the uncertainty of if you're even playing or not. The thing that really hurt last year was the time and the effort we put into that opening game in April 16th. And then to find out March 17th, hey, you're not playing. That was a lot of time and effort for that. I mean, we had a really huge opening game. And so this year, I didn't want to make the same mistake. And what I mean by that is just putting all this work for something that's not going to happen. It's so counterproductive. So the waiting game is what was been tough. When's training camp? I don't know. When's the season start? I don't know. And I mean, we have those answers now, of course, but I think that was the hardest part, going through October, November, December, and every month that went by was one less month we had a chance to sell season tickets and sell advertising and sponsorships. So that was a little discouraging, and it's kind of a backbreaker.
When does training camp start?
For us, we're going to start March 13th. I'll bring the wide receivers, quarterbacks, and DBs in. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll do some two-a-days, kind of weed those guys out, figure out who's staying and who's going. And then I bring the big guys in about 2 days later. I don't know what the date on that is, maybe the 20th or something, maybe the 19th. So I kind of split training camp up. I don't bring all 40 guys in at one time. It's too many people, a lot of head count. So we split it up. We kind of isolate it and break it down a little bit smaller to groups like that. And it's worked for years. And so I'm going to keep doing it that way.
Will testing be done on a daily basis?
For COVID?
Yeah.
When we've got some protocols for the lines for what we'll do as far as taking temperatures. I'm not going to sit there and run tests every single day of practice. Not for what we're doing. Our main concern, is making sure the players are safe and healthy. I'll follow whatever guidelines the state of Alabama tells us to provide, and the state of Georgia. And whatever they're doing is what we'll do.
We've asked this of other coaches as well as others within the NAL. With the NAL pushing the 21 season back, in your opinion, do you actually feel that NAL will actually play this year?
Yeah, I'm not more so than I did 6 months ago. Just because of the fact that I've kind of talked to the arenas. The key to us playing is not us. It's the arenas. That's the whole key. Has nothing to do with NAL owners, has nothing to do with the players or me or the coaches. It has to do with the arenas. And the arenas know the back end stories because they're the ones that schedule events. They know what the states are going to allow them to do and not do. And, after talking with our arena director, I feel confident in what he's telling me, what he knows, that most of these arenas are going to allow us to play. And so whether it's an 8-game season, 14, I think we're playing 8, just to get the season in would be huge. I would, if I was a betting man, I'd bet that we're definitely playing. So that's what we're shooting for.
Speaking of the arena with the Columbus Civic Center, is there any idea yet on the capacity of fans for the games?
It'll keep moving up. Right now for hockey, I'm not sure what it is. Hockey starts next week, I think, here in the arena. For me, even 50% capacity is fine. I mean, it's a 10,000 seat arena. So, we're not going to play without fans, but I think we'll be fine. And you got to figure our first home game, we're on the road to start the season anyway. So our first home game isn't until June.
Wow. Fan experience is obviously such a big part of arena football. Has there been any discussion about how close the fans will actually be able to get to the players during the games or after the games?
How close do people get at each other at the line at Walmart and Home Depot? You see what I'm saying? I mean, what are we talking about here? Is it okay for me to go stand in line with 100 people in line at Walmart and Home Depot? I was just there this week and it was packed. All of a sudden, what? Because now they're in the arena, I'm more valuable to get caught? I don't know. I'm just being sarcastic. So, oh my gosh, don't take that. Somebody's going to see this and start a big stink. Whatever the city and the civic center's rules are is what we will abide by. That's all I know. And I will abide by the same. So if they require 6 feet social distancing, then we'll get with those plans. We have a plan from the Columbus Lions as far as what we need to do to keep our fans safe and our players safe. The city has one as well, and so does the Civic Center. We will combine all those, make everybody aware of it, and then just, and practice doing our part to make sure everything's following guidelines. The Home Depot
Uh,
thing was charged. You know that, right? So
yeah.
okay, just making sure.
Have any players currently actually asked to opt out of the season?
None.
Free agent tryouts are this Saturday on the February 27th.
Right.
What are your expectations coming into those tryouts, and are there any specific positions you're looking to sign during those tryouts?
You know, I'm gonna be about as transparent as I can be. Tryouts are hard, you know, for guys to make it. It is, and you got to be the best of the best of the best. And some people don't understand that. And of course, yeah, we charge for the tryout. If I went out there and said, "Hey, we're doing it for free," you know, we have 400 people out there, and then you don't get anything done. I mean, I've been to those tryouts, and that's what, you know, I try to explain to people. Like, I already know, you know, I played back in the 90s, and I remember going to tryout after tryout, and I'm paying 75, 100. And that was 25 years ago. I was paying 75 and 100. So I've been there and done that. You know, one of the things that we do in Columbus, which I think is different, if we sign you, I refund your money. You know, I'm not trying to get rich. I don't need tryout money like a lot of these teams. I don't need tryout money to run our organization. That's not what it's for. But if you're good enough, then put your money where your mouth is. You know, that's the way it is. We signed a guy from the last tryout, a kid named Darren Townsend out of Youngstown State. And I got to tell you, man, he was good. He was good. I remember, and we signed him. So, you know, this Saturday at the tryout, who knows what's going to show up? Who knows? I do love the opportunity that it provides people that sometimes didn't get a chance, or something happened in college, or for whatever reason. But also, too, it's a chance, you know, I get a lot of film, as do other coaches. And, you know, you can't always trust everything you see on the film. Sometimes you got to be able to see somebody in person and watch them compete and things like that. So, yeah, I hope I do find somebody. You know, I always do. But it's a tough hill to climb, though.
With there's the youth NFL flag returning this spring and summer, which I believe is partnered with the Columbus Lions.
Right.
What can you tell me about that?
Great league. I've been doing it almost as long as I've been here. We've had outdoor leagues, indoor leagues, flag leagues, co-ed leagues. I run a flag league every spring, or a youth football league, somehow, some way every spring. Best program we run. A lot of kids in the community. And it's funny now, you know, being 15 years into this, there's kids that I meet that are 20, 19 years old. You know, they're young adults. They're in college. They've moved on. And I'll meet them. Hey, coach, you don't remember me? I'm like, no. And they're like, yeah, I played in your NFL flag league back in 2010 or something. I'm like, oh, wow, that's great. It's good. You know, and it's just fun that we were able to provide such a great service. You know, this is the South. This is a football country. And, you know, I kind of thought about, hey, let's treat this like spring football, like Auburn and Alabama and Georgia do. Let's have spring football for our community. And it works out really great. And the kids have a great time, and it provides an extra avenue. Columbus has some really good youth coaches, in my opinion. And I think it's important for those coaches to be able to continue to mentor kids, not just for the 3 months in the fall, but why not for 3 months in the spring, summer? It's just, it's better for where we live. And I love it. I love the dads or the coaches that volunteer. They do such a tremendous job with these kids, building those, not just football skills, but they mentor them and they teach them. And that's what it's all about. Proudest thing we do since I've been here.
How many teams are in it?
It depends. It varies. One year we had 16 teams. You know, a lot of times it depends too. You know, we play in the arena on the turf on game days, right? So if you can picture that, you know, if you start a game at 9 o'clock in the morning, you can only play so many games before we have to take the field. So that kind of limits how many teams you can have. But, you know, we've had up to 16 teams before. I had teams all the way from Atlanta. We had a team one year that drove in from Atlanta every Saturday just to play in the Civic Center. Teams from Auburn, Opelika, Smith Station, you know, all the surrounding outskirts, LaGrange. It's been great. So it's not just a Columbus-based league. It brings everybody around into it. And it's something really special. So hopefully this year we'll coming off COVID, I'm not sure how many teams we're going to have. Plus it's COVID, and I think that makes it fun too as well. My kids play in it. They love it. They ask me every day, Daddy, when's flag football start? When's flag football start? So it's really a good time.
How many years have y'all been partnered with the NFL for these games?
I started partnering with them maybe 5 years ago. Before that, we were kind of running it on our own. And I was doing outdoor football, a legitimate outdoor league in the spring. The problem was parents don't know how to act. So it just got to be too much to run the league because you couldn't keep the parents from fighting in the stands. They just love football down here. And it was honestly became a bigger headache than it was worth having to deal with all every day I was fielding more calls about a youth flag league in the middle of an arena season. The flag league, the youth football league was supposed to be just, it's a fun league. They get to, do some skills and play some games. I'm getting phone calls. You need to check his birth certificate. I don't think he's old enough. I'm like, is this real? Is this really people's priority, is worrying about the age of a kid at a youth football game? But hey, it's the society we live in.
Are there any upcoming special community involvement or events during the season?
Yeah, we got some really cool stuff coming up. So one of the things that we do, short version, is we do a high school Alabama versus Georgia arena showcase game. It's going to be on April 23rd at the arena. And we get 2 to 3 kids from from some teams in Alabama versus, some kids from Georgia. And we teach them arena football for about 2-3 days of practice, put them in the arena, and they play a game on the turf, kind of like an all-star game type thing for seniors only. It's a really great experience. We offer scholarships, some trophies, but it gives kids a chance to play arena football and gives seniors who might not have got signed one more shot of playing football again, and maybe get a look or get some film. So that's a great event. I can't wait for it. We used to do about 3 or 4 years ago, and then I stopped. But we're going to pick it back up again this year. And then on May 15th, we're running a 5K Autism Run for the Autism House, Hope House, here in Columbus, Georgia, to raise money for autism awareness. It'd be our second time we've done that race. The first time we did it was 2 years ago, and it was really successful. We were able to donate some good money back. And then this year, we look to make it even bigger. So those are the first 2 events that really stand out to me, as our high school game and the 5K run for autism.
Is there anything that you'd like to tell the fan base watching before we wrap this up?
Just appreciate the support. And it's been a good ride for 15 years to be part of here, being Columbus, and be here this long. And there's not many teams that can say that. I appreciate what you guys do. I think it takes, things like this podcast and the fan interest and to build the brand and build the product. And arena football has such a ripple effect that you don't realize it. It goes far and beyond just the walls of the field. When you look at the impact that a lot of these teams, my team included, has on the communities, you just don't realize it. Even not only from a community standpoint, from an economic standpoint, from a financial standpoint, it all ties in together. And anything I can do to promote the sport, promote football. I think football builds character. I think it builds relationships with fans. There's so many people and so many really great fans in Columbus that I have met that have become, that I've known through me and my family, that are just great people. And I think that's why I've been here so long, and I've never had a desire to leave, was really the people in this city that make it special. I couldn't imagine a better place to live as far as the community and how people treat each other. So that's what I love about it. It's what I love about arena football. And I'm just blessed that the Lions were able to get me here and be able to share this. And now I'm kind of an older, balder guy, and maybe I can pass it on to somebody else and continue it on. So I just appreciate what you guys do.
It's an honor to do this interview with you, Coach.
No, I appreciate it, man. You guys are doing a great job, man. Keep it up. Let me know anything I can do, okay?
All right. Welcome back to Inside Arena Football. We're back here for some more fun, joined as always by Tony Z from the AAL, as well as Coach Nate Smith from the Western Michigan Ironmen.
Thanks for having me.
So how's the year been treating you?
Well, been pretty quiet. I think like a lot of people, we're kind of hunkering down, trying to do our part to get this COVID thing passed so we can get back to some football and get back to life as normal as it was before. But things have been good. Up here in Michigan, we get all our snow, and so it's a natural time for things to be a little bit slower. But with the trend kind of going down and things moving in the right direction, and more and more people getting the vaccine, at least up in our area, it's looking more and more like at least we're taking some steps towards a little more normalcy. So we're pretty excited about that.
Hunter, I was going to share, Nate is a long time respected head coach in arena football, period. He's been in other leagues as a head coach. The Ironmen, you left other leagues actually to join the AL, but he is a very well-respected, versed person in the industry. And I have to tell you one of the many things I should say that impresses me, how involved him and his own Mario Flores are in their community. They just, even through this COVID, they have their pulse on that entire region, not even city of Muskegon. They are involved in, they're supported throughout. I mean, the industry. When you mention the West Michigan Ironmen, you have no thoughts except for incredible positive thoughts. And it's not about the success on the field. He's enjoyed tremendous success, but it's about all the other aspects that make somebody successful.
We appreciate that, Tony. That's kind of, when we first started, we kind of had that mentality that we wanted to be a very positive influence in what we're trying to do. And I think, how the arena industry has been, there's a lot of teams that come and go. I think there's a lot of people that underestimate the amount of commitment and the amount of, work that it is to get that footprint in your community. And so I think, we took a lot of time getting things off the ground. And I think bottom line, we talk about, we want to be champions on the field and champions in our community and for our community. And so I think that really is at the heart of what we're trying to do. And I know Mario just embodies that, in so much of what he does as an owner. So I appreciate that. I mean, that's definitely something we try to work on. We try to pride ourselves on doing things right and being really honest with our players. And that's really been the key for us during this COVID thing. You know what I mean? It's, how much more honest can you be with, I don't know what's going on. I don't know where we're going. We're trying to do this, we're trying to do that. And we're just really fortunate. We're really, really, really happy with the community that we play in. And we've got great fans, and they're just committed to what's going on. And, I think we refunded one season ticket from last season. And we sent an email out to our season ticket holders that we call the Iron Core. We sent an email out to them, and I got responses just like popcorn coming back about how excited everybody was, and they were just waiting for things to get going. And it makes you feel good, makes you feel like you're doing something right, and that's really why we do it. That, and to give guys an opportunity to play and get some film out there and have some fun and stay committed to the game they love. And so it's been good. I think you get nervous during this COVID time. How are people going to respond? How much are they going to remember you? Are they going to remember what's going on? And it's been really good. We've been really pleased. And so we're real excited.
Most definitely. It's always good to have a strong fan base going into some uncertain times like we have right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, we got great fans. And I think every arena, I hope every team, feels that way about their fans, but we think our fans are special. This area of West Michigan's it's a football area. Our county that we live in is a top-notch high school football in the state of Michigan, and our fans are they know players. When we play a team from Indianapolis, they know their roster. We used to play in some middle leagues. We played Bloomington, they knew their roster. We played West Virginia, they knew all their roster, and they're just chirping them and having a good time and taking pictures with them afterwards. They really, really appreciate the arena league.
And you mentioned the high school, Muskegon High School, a very good high school program.
Muskegon.
Yeah, Muskegon. They're, I think, they're the winningest program in the state of Michigan, and they're up there top 5, 6, 7 in the country. They've been around a long, long time, and they've had some good success. Even I think a few years back, this county, there's 8 divisions in high school football in Michigan. And then there was at one time, I think there were 5 teams from our county that were playing for the state championship. So football is definitely in the blood here in our area.
How much of a local tie would you say you have like on like a roster currently from that Michigan area?
We have a pretty good local footprint. We bring a few guys in from out of town, but I'd say, a big chunk of our players have always been, within driving distance. We get guys from the Detroit area. We're about 3.5 hours from Detroit, the Lansing area, which is about an hour and a half away. But I would definitely say, 60, 70% of our roster is made up of guys that have played in Michigan, played in the state of Michigan. And, and a lot of our core is definitely, in this area. And so that adds a whole dynamic, I think, to the Iron Core, to our fans. They know these people's names. They watched them in high school. They watched them in local college. They've seen them on, with their NFL tryouts and all that kind of stuff. So they follow a lot of our players. And so that just perpetuates, the interest in the fan base.
Obviously, I would say that this is probably a question that I'm sure that Tony's heard me ask several times, because I think we've asked it on every show, but what challenges did COVID-19 bring to the offseason and preparing for this season?
No challenge at all. Piece of cake. I think the unknown, you know what I mean? It's the unknown of just what's going to take place. When it first started, we had a game, and we had I like to say it was a exhibition game because we lost, but we had one game when the season had started. And then it really became, what is this COVID thing? What's going on? And literally, we had a story. The local news was going to do a story on our team and some of our players. We were all set to go down to the arena. They called and said, "Hey, we're going to bump you for this COVID story that's kind of going on." And that's when Mario and I looked at each other and said, "Uh-oh, what's this all about?" And sure enough, everything got shut down. And then it just becomes a question of, from the players, do I keep working out? What's going on? Coach, are we going to move forward? And, our whole mentality was try to stay prepared in case, at the time, nobody knew what was going on. Is this a month-long thing? Is it a 6-week thing? I don't think at the beginning, a lot of us anticipated being like it was. There was talk of that, and so you read that stuff. But so yeah, really the challenge was to kind of keeping our players connected, and the challenge was kind of keeping our product on the field. And then, from the business side, is working with our sponsors. And I talk positively about our fan base. Our sponsorship core has been incredible as well. And they've been really understanding, and that always makes you nervous. Because you get sponsors that you kind of want to share their branding and their message, and when you don't have a season, you can't do that. And you're like, okay, are they going to be pissed? Are they going to say, forget the Ironmen, kind of a thing? And so that's a challenge. How are you going to navigate those type of things? But I think we've kind of just been honest and straightforward with our team and with our community and with our sponsors, and I think they respect that. And we're lucky enough that we've got a pretty good history here in West Michigan, and so I think they trust us, and they trust that we're going to be back. And when we say we're going to be back, we're going to be back. And I think a lot of that has to do with Tony and his leadership. It's there are leagues that were trying to do stuff, and I think overzealous, and making promises that couldn't be kept, and doing this, that, and the other. And we've got a great group of owners and great leadership in Tony that everybody was like, hey, you know what? We're in this thing together. Let's do it right, because we want to be playing in 2026, 2027, 2028. It's not just about this season. We want to, position ourselves for the long haul. And I think that's one of the great things that the AAL has done, is that they are very committed to having great teams, and we try to lock out the noise and, this riffraff and this and that, and oh, this league's doing this. And we know what we're doing. We know where we're going, and we've got great leadership and great ownership in place. And so all those things kind of contribute to answer that question. How was it a challenge? Navigating that, but when you're navigating with a group of men and owners and great leadership, it makes things a lot easier.
And thank you, Nate. I appreciate that. And I have been sharing, one of the repeated message that I have every week for Hunter and everybody in Locked In Magazine is the owners that we have in place, how everybody works together, the thought process behind everything, and how fortunate we are to have each other. whether we're sharing marketing ideas or just coming up. Nate
Yep.
Nate happens to be part of the AAL advisory board, and first thing I do is if there's a decision or something in front of us, I'll call Nate up and get his opinion, and Mario also, because we're in this together, and we're looking at the future. We're not only looking about this year. This year is what it is. We're going to make the best of it. It's been a hurdle for us, but we just and I'll quote Nate, who has said it. Hey, we just stay focused on what we have to do, and he has said that to me many times. And everything's going to work out for itself, and it will. And we unfortunately we're going to have we'll have some things that are a little bit different this year, but we're going to put it behind us at the end of the season. Then we're going to regroup and do things we need to do to keep elevating the American Arena League.
100%.
How significantly did COVID-19 affect the search for talent during the offseason?
We kind of took the approach that we were just going to stay in contact with, people that reached out to us. We kind of reached back and said, hey, we're going to put you all in a database, and we kept their film. And I watched film, and our coaching staff watched film, and we have a process to evaluate our players. We rank them, and then we, categorize those guys. And we just kind of said, hey, we're going to stay in contact with you. You know what I mean? Because one of the things, like I said earlier, we want to be honest and straightforward with our players, and we could tell them all along, hey, we're going to bring you in. We're going to do this, but we weren't sure what was going on. And so I'm sure we lost some players along the line. That was a decision that we made, that we're just going to have to roll with that. We decided that we didn't want to bring somebody in and then say, oh, hey, appreciate you passing up these other offers. Now we're not going to play, and so that was tough. I mean, it's going to be a challenge. Like, we're still trying right now to recruit players and get our roster back together. And, very fortunate that a vast majority of our roster is committed to what's going to be taking place. But, we didn't have the green light to do some things around here in Michigan for quite a while. You know what I mean? So we were in limbo a little bit longer maybe than some other teams. But, our guys are ready to go. And, one of our players says all the time, he wants to, if you're always ready, you don't have to get ready. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And that's kind of been the mentality of our core. And so, kind of like, we throw out the bat light and they show up, we're ready to go. So, but it has been a challenge.
How frustrating would you say it was when looking at, like, in Michigan, which was very strict with the COVID guidelines, and then looking at other states out there like Florida that was pretty much ready to open up back in August?
Yeah, I think that's the tough thing, right? Is that you're going, okay, is it any worse here, or is it any worse there, or what's going on here and there? And you can look at all the political discussion and that kind of stuff, and you have to kind of put the blinders on and shut that stuff out and say, okay, I can't look at what Florida's doing because I'm not in Florida. Reality is I got to deal with what's going on today. I just read a quote today, a Babe Ruth quote, the guy behind you, he said, today's home runs can't win you tomorrow's games. And, or yesterday, the other way around, sorry. Yesterday's home runs can't win today's games. Yeah, and that same mentality for me is like, okay, I can look at what Florida's doing, and I can be frustrated that they're recruiting and they're getting players and they're practicing and we can't, but like, our reality is this is where we're at, and you got to grow where you're planted. And so we kind of tried to focus on that, but it's frustrating. It's frustrating really I coach high school football as well. And I think that was a really frustration. I've got seniors that have been waiting, since they started playing football to play their senior year, and they're not sure it's going to take place. Here in Michigan, it was not going to happen. And then it happened, and then it was shut down, and then it started again, and it was back and forth, and we were just fortunate enough that we had great leadership there as well from our high school association, that they got some games in. But there's a time that, kids in Ohio, I've got friends and coaches that I know in Ohio from the Arena League and from high school that they're playing, and they've got things going, and our kids aren't, and that's kind of frustrating, So I think it's a discipline to stay locked into what you can do and control what you can control. But it's tough. It's tough to turn on a high school game and watch high school guys playing across the country, and even knowing you're seeing guys on Facebook and seeing their teams practice, and you're like, son of a gun, them turds, they're getting a leg up on us, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. We're really gonna, more than ever, I think it pushes us to say, what are we about as an organization, the Ironmen? Yes, we want to win games, we want to win championships, but our first and foremost is that we want to give players an opportunity. We want to be a champion for our community, and we can still do that. And we can still do that with great talent. We can do that with little talent. And I think that's it just kind of pushes us. That's what we're going to be about this year. And I mean, don't get me wrong, we're going to do everything we can to win every game that we strap on the that garnet helmet. But we just kind of control what we can control.
Hunter, one of the things you and I discussed previously is the fact that, the schedule and who's playing and who's not playing and what's the situation with different teams. I mean, Nate and Mario and the Ironmen are a perfect example. I mean, they were all set, ready to go, and the rug was pulled out from under them. And then all of a sudden they were given 2 home dates, and that's all they were given. And they said, "What? How are we going to play 2 home games?" So they really lived that roller coaster that we've been speaking about. This, I mean, and look at the long successful history of that organization, and they even Nate experienced that despite his ties to the community and all that. It was tough. It's tough, and it was tough off season.
Yeah, it was really tough. We had our meetings. We shared the arena with a hockey team, a USHL hockey team, and we had any date in May, any date in April. We had 2 dates in March. We're good to go. Well, then their season starts getting pushed back, and then their season gets pushed back, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, we can't have this and we can't have this, and it's literally a roller coaster. And it's just a matter of you control what you can control. And we had a few metrics in place that we say, hey, if we get to this point, we're going to have to push pause until 2021 or 2022. But we've been real fortunate that the city has been very positive working with us, and we've got great relationships down there. So we're excited. We're excited about this season.
You mentioned that you were also able to coach at high school too.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What would you say are the biggest challenges you face, not only coaching in high school, but also coaching in arena football?
Well, in high school, I can't swear at the kids. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's a different dynamic. You know what I mean? I think, with the arena football, you got guys that come in, and in some ways it's a lot easier. They know how to prepare. They know how to get themselves ready for a game. They know what expectations are. A lot of our guys have been coached at the highest level by great coaches, and so when you're coaching high school football, you got to teach a lot of that stuff, teach a kid how to get ready. And that's different for every player. I mean, how do they prepare for a game? How do they, do those kind of different things? So it's unique. I think the best thing about for an Ironman standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, is really teaching them our culture. They know how to tackle, they know how to throw, they know how to catch, they know how to run, all those basic things. They wouldn't be here. So it's really a matter of getting them acclimated to the way that we do things and the why that we do things, And so I think in high school football, that learning palette that you're trying to use is much broader, because you're trying to teach them those things, but also, the basics and fundamentals of the game. But it's been awesome for us. We have all of our staff coaches at the high school level at some point, and it's just great to have our high school players around our practices, because every one of the coaches will bring a couple guys out, and they get to see, D. White, who has got a championship ring from Conference USA, and he played at Mississippi, Southern Mississippi, and he's just to see a guy that's 6'7", dreadlocks down the middle of his back. It's like they love that stuff. You know what I mean? Or to talk with Jesse Thompson, one of our offensive linemen who played in the NFL, and he's just a All-American in college, and those guys get to rub shoulders with them. It's kind of why we do what we do. You know what I mean? And so there's definitely an overlap and a bleed there, and it's cool, but totally different dynamics. Coaching high school and the professional level.
What are some of your most proudest or even memorable moments from coaching in both?
Gal, high school wise, I've been at 3 different programs and 3 different dynamics. I was at one of the biggest high schools in the state of Michigan, and I was there for 12 years, and we went from kind of an average, below average team, and we built a program that we were one of the top teams in the state for 3 or 4 years. And then I transitioned to a private school, and we won 5 state championships in a row. And then the school I'm at now at Fruitport High School is it's incredibly rewarding. And like been there, going on our 4th season, and just to see the transformation that these kids have made has been just incredible. Like, to me, and I tell the story, and our guys will be pissed that I'm sharing it, but we were playing Muskegon, and the very first year I was there, and we were getting beat pretty bad. And I took over a team that was 2-7, and we're playing Muskegon, who had an offensive line that, this is no joke, our running back, Dakota Smith, that coaches for us at the Fruitport, at the high school level. He looked at me and he said, man, I'd love to have that offensive line in Arena. I mean, we're talking, they had 3 All-Americans, a guy that won a national championship at LSU, guy that played at Alabama. You know, they're talking, this is their high school offensive line, right? So we're playing them and we're down 60 something to nothing. And we scored, Fruitport scored literally as time expired. And our guys went nuts. And if you would have just watched our sideline and watched our fans and watched our band and everything, you thought we won the game. And it was a really, really proud moment, because in the past, I think the teams that would have folded, you know what I mean? They would have given up. And it was a level of, part of our story at Fruitport now is that, you know, back was against the wall. We were getting our noses smashed in, and we continued to fight on. And it was kind of our mantra, and it's what we've been doing. So that was a really proud moment. And then I think too, you know, over the long haul, I don't think I've got a single moment as far as Arena goes, but one thing we do take pride in is that we do get a lot of return players that want to come and play for us, and they want to continue to play for us because they like the community, they like our ownership. We've got I feel like we got a great nucleus of players. We've got 6 or 7 players that have played all 5 years, are going to be all 6 seasons with us. And that's something I think we're really proud of, you know. And you know, we won the MPIF and we were in that league one year, and that was a year that we had some change of leagues and that kind of stuff. And so I think that was really cool, and that was really you know, exciting thing. But you know, just being a part of this AAL and really getting this league to kind of where Tony wants to be, there's a level of pride that we feel in connection to this league. And I think that's something that, you know, so it's not a moment, you know, I guess I didn't answer your question completely, but I think, you know, in general, the things that we're really proud of, that, you know, we're proud of our community, we're proud of our players, and kind of the heart of what we're trying to do, you know, as far from the Ironman standpoint.
Have you all had a chance to do tryouts yet?
We have a tryout coming up March 7th. So we'll have our first tryout March 7th. You come on down? Gonna
Hey,
suit up?
I would need a plane ticket.
Nate, he's outside of Orlando, Florida, so I don't think he's heading north anytime soon.
That's okay. Can you play center?
Well, what's your early expectations going into that? Like going into the tryout?
We expect to sign. We expect to sign some guys. You know, every year we find 2 or 3 guys that are kind of diamonds in the rough, and we like to think, and we've done this intentionally. We always bring 1 or 2 guys that are kind of like, we kind of say 1 or 2 years away from being an AAL player. And so we have a couple guys like that, and I'm really looking forward to a couple guys that were in that boat the last couple of years, because we're looking for them to start to contribute. You know, because the indoor game is different than the outdoor game, and we see some guys that we go, hey, that kid's got some talent. You know, and you can't, most of the time they're a local player. And we kind of really build some pride on seeing them grow as a player. So we're looking to get guys there. You know, I know we've already, you know, we've contacted and talked to 15, 20 people that are looking to come out, and we've watched some film. And so we're looking forward to be honest, we're just looking forward to get together. You know, we had a couple different staff meetings. It's nice to see the guys face to face. You know, we've been Zooming and doing that kind of stuff, but for me, it's nice to see the coaches that are, you know, great friends of mine, and be able to hang out with them. And I know the players have been chatting. We've got an app that we use to stay connected, and they're all excited to see each other, and they're talking crap back and forth to each other. And you're going to be fat and you're not going to be in shape. You know how that stuff goes. And so that is so rewarding. So we're looking forward to that. I mean, that's probably the thing I'm looking forward to most, is just seeing the guys, connecting with them, and those type of things.
Hunter, 2 of the things that we've done this year, we've done it over the last few weeks, is we've actually, without adjusting when a championship game is, which is generally last Saturday in June, we've actually been able to push the season back. So there's very few games being played in March. In fact, we learned earlier this week, even St. Louis had to cancel. They had 2 games, tentative game schedule in March, and we had to move them back into the months of April and May. So as a whole, there's maybe, and I say maybe there's 4 games that are going to be played in March. The other thing we have done is the owners, last time we spoke as a group, we decided to have a 22-player game day roster. So on Tuesdays, everybody submits a 30-player roster. And instead of having 21-man game day roster, we are now at 22. And that's just because with the virus, we thought it'd be a little bit more help, I should say, to everybody.
Okay. In terms of heading into the season, obviously with the team, is there any breakout stars that you would say that you are potentially looking at?
It's hard to say, without having our season last year. We had a guy playing for us, Keandre Banks, who was a Division II All-American, and he was, an ESPN top play in the national championship game. Like, he's a phenomenal talent. Okay, we were really expecting a lot out of him, and so he's, during this COVID time, he ended up moving out to Colorado and doing some things out there. So we're looking to bring him back and get him back in the mix. He was a younger guy that we were expecting a lot out of. Dakota Smith, one of our running backs, has been a staple for us. He's been a leader and a very big producer for us in both the passing game and the run game for us. And, he's just gotten better and better. And so it's exciting to see how he may come back, with this off season. I know he stayed committed to his workouts and those type of things. We got some defensive players, Derek Vandenbosch, who's been with us since the get. He's a jack linebacker. He's one of the first ones that reached out and said, "Coach, I can't wait. I got this stuff going on." He does a lot of athletic training for local high school athletes. And I said to him, "Derek, we'll figure out around your schedule, because I know you're that guy." He's like, "No, I can't wait to get on the field." And so those are the guys that you just love to coach. And I think that's the biggest thing that we're going to see. I saw it in high school because we weren't able to do a lot of stuff all summer. When we did get together, the intensity was incredible. And I expect the same thing with our players. I think they're chomping at the bit to put the helmet on, to get out there and to be around each other. And so I don't know. I think it's a good challenge. I don't know who's going to step up and be the spotlight player, the guy that's going to have a breakout season. But I have a feeling that we're going to have to play some good football, because guys are going, "Hey, I know, my playing days could be done at any time, and it was just yet a year taken from us." And so I think there's a level of appreciation, excitement that they're going to bring to the field.
Obviously, we talked a little earlier on about the restrictions in Michigan. What is is it currently known what the restrictions on the arena in Western Michigan are going to be for the season?
Yeah, right now in Michigan, they're based on the size of the arenas. So arenas that'll seat up to X amount, I think it's like 5,000, can have 250 people. And then if it's 10,000, can have up to 500 people. And obviously social distancing and all that kind of stuff going on. So, but yeah, I mean, I think we're looking at having 500. We've been really fortunate. We've got this Trevor Kozlowski, who works for us. He's the assistant GM. We call him the dude. He's been a great job doing streaming and stuff for us. And so we're actually looking to expand a lot of the streaming platforms that we do and trying to make it a little more interactive. And we've got some creative ideas that we're going to roll out with that. And so, we just want to get our product out to let everybody watch. I think, it's going to be, it may look different because it's going to be a smaller group of fans, but I don't think it'll be any less entertaining. And I think we're going to try to get it out in front of as many people as possible, but, yeah, so right now, I mean, it's face masks, social distancing, all that kind of stuff that I think, is pretty in vogue right now, kind of unfortunately become the norm, but that's just the way it is.
What are your early expectations for the season?
Undefeated, national champs, Super Bowl champs, all that kind of stuff. Tony said if we win all our games, he's buying us rings. So that's our goal. Yeah, maybe those big those lollipop rings, right? We'll take them. We'll take anything, right? No, we expect to play well. I think last year that exhibition game we lost. Now, we lost to a good team. We lost to Music City. They're going to be a great team in our league. I think it was a little wake-up call. We had a great practice the next 2 weeks after that because we had to buy that fun. We had a great week. Our guys were locked in and pissed off and fired up. And, I felt bad for who we were going to play that week because I knew we were going to bring some heat, but we expect to win. I mean, that's kind of the bottom line. I don't think anybody prepares and puts the work in if they don't expect that, and it's our job as coaches to scout and put our players in that position to do it. And then our guys go out and get it done. So there's, no expectation other than that for us.
Hey, Nate, although that was the only arena game played in any league last year.
Jeez.
Bobby and Andre, every time we speak, they want to know when they're getting the championship ring for last year.
Every time I talk to Bobby, I mention like, hey, that one exhibition game was great. He's like, hey, wait a minute, But no, it's good. I think it's gonna be a really good rivalry because he's from this area. He's from Muskegon. Bobby's originally from here, and he's great. He's doing some great things there. He's one of those owners that we talked about that is just committed to the long haul and what we're trying to do. And I think that's what's going to make our league great, in the end.
Any last thoughts before we start wrapping up here?
No, I guess I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you. You're obviously a young guy, and I appreciate you trying to put a spotlight on the sport. It's great for our guys that want to play. It's great for our community, great for our fans. And Tony, I thank you so much for your leadership and to be able to lead in such a chaotic and foggy time. It's like, it's just a matter of there was never a question in our mind that we were AAL members. We're going to stay AAL members, and we're staying committed to what's going on. And that's a lot to do with you and the leadership that you brought.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. And
people like you, people like you and Mario make it a lot easier for me. That's for sure.
Well, I almost sent you a text this weekend. I got a text from somebody that you and I both know that said, hey, you guys need to come to this league. And I said, nope. He said, you sure? And I said, nope.
I tell you, you want to hear a good story? There's a gentleman that I think you played last year 2 years ago, and they were recruiting some of your players.
Oh, yeah.
And ironically, he reached out because he wanted to come back to the AAL. That was 2 weeks ago.
We're still in the air, right?
We're fine with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure you're aware of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Nate knows who I'm referring to, and
oh yeah.
That's fine. People are always trying to come into the AAL, and we are very, very selective who we allow in, and we've gotten rid of some of the people we don't want to be around. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. It's that idea of staying committed to the vision, and don't let the noise bother us, and we know where we're going, and that's where we're going to go. So I appreciate you, Tony, and
thank you.
I appreciate you, Hunter, man. I appreciate you putting a spotlight on our sport.
Most definitely. Tony, any last announcements on the league end before we can close this up?
No, just what I had said previously. We're about to come out with the schedule finally. Pushing the season back. St. Louis again, just this week. As I keep repeating myself every week to you, Hunter. Just this week, St. Louis had to push. They lost their March date, so I think we're good to go now. And we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, but I look at it in a positive way. Thank God, life is getting better for everybody, and dealing with this virus is much more important than any sport.
Yeah, 100%.
Coach, it was honored to have you on here, and Tony, as always, excellent.
Thank you, Hunter.
Anytime. We're glad to be here.
Thank you, Hunter.